In this video you will learn all there is to know about farming, everything from all the different towers you can use to when they should be used and how to make them more efficient. And then we will cover several different farming strategies, ranging from very simple and laid back for the beginners, all the way up to the most advanced secret farming strategies used by the very best pros out there, raking home all those shiny leaderboard medals. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor. Raid Shadow Legends is a collection RPG with hundreds of champions for you to collect and level up to build your own custom team and take on all kinds of enemies, face off against other players in the arena or fight bosses throughout the campaign and dungeons. Your team is made up of champions that come in 6 tiers, common through mythical. If you sign up now using the promo code Monkey King, you will get the legendary champion Sun Wukong for free. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, is a popular character from Chinese mythology and is known for his superhuman abilities, intelligence and trickery, as in the folklore he could transform into 72 different forms, like animals and objects. In the game he has a special set of abilities that makes him a very powerful champion in any raid team. He can steal all buffs from all enemies before attacking them, and he places block buffs on all targets. His Staff of Wonder attack ignores 50% of the target's defense, which will also deal surplus damage to other enemies if the target is killed, and he also has a powerful passive which will revive him fully. If you use my QR code or link in the description below, you will also get 2 epic tier champions for free, Lightsworn right away and the boss killer Juliana once you hit level 15. And promo code I love free stuff will work even if you already have an account, and it will give you the rare champion per server, so hit the link in the description and sign up for free. Now let's get back to the video. First of all, let's talk about the most common tower used for farming, the banana farm. The base tower costs $1,250 on medium difficulty, which is the difficulty that all prices in this video will be referring to, as this is the difficulty used in boss events. It generates 4 bananas per round worth $20 each, for a total of $80 per round, assuming that you pick them up within 15 seconds, or else they disappear. You then have 3 upgrade paths to choose from. Starting with the top path, the first 2 upgrades will increase the banana production from 4 to 6 and then 8 bananas per round. The third upgrade will increase the production all the way up to 16 bananas per round, and then after that, the final 2 upgrades will send out entire crates of bananas. The Tier 4 Banana Research Facility, or BRF for short, generates 5 crates worth $300 each for a total of $1,500 per round. And now the final upgrade, the Tier 5 Banana Central, generates 5 crates per round as well, but they are now worth $1,200 each. And on top of this, having a Banana Central will cause every BRF to generate crates that are worth 25% extra. As with every tower in BTD6, you get to choose one upgrade path, which you can choose to upgrade all the way up to tier 5, and a second path to crosspath your tower with another 2 upgrades. As to how we should crosspath a top path farm, it's almost always with the middle path, but there are exceptions, as we will learn later on. And now onto the middle path. All the first upgrade does is to cause the bananas and crates to last 30 seconds instead of 15, so a pretty useless upgrade assuming that you're focusing on the game. The second upgrade causes each banana or crate to be worth 25% more or 30% with the more valuable bananas monkey knowledge. The third upgrade turns the farm into a money bank that no longer drop bananas, but instead generate $225 per round without any crosspathing, or $233 with the more valuable bananas monkey knowledge. And all the money generated gets stored in the bank and you can collect it at any time, but the longer you wait, the faster you will make money. This is because on top of the money that the bank will generate, it will also give a 15% interest on the amount of money that is stored in the bank at the end of each round, so the longer you wait, the more you will earn in interest each round. But don't wait too long, as the bank can get full and thus stop generating money. A bank can hold up to $7,000 before becoming full, or $9,500 with the bigger bank's monkey knowledge. The Tier 4 bank, the IMF Loan, however, can hold up to $10,000 by default and $12,500 with the monkey knowledge. The bank still generates the same amount of money per round, but the larger bank allows for more money to be earned through interest per round when the bank has a lot of money stored in it. On top of this, if you have the bank deposits monkey knowledge, you can deposit some money into the bank so you don't have to start from 0 every time you collect, and this will increase the amount of money earned through interest by a lot. Last but not least, you also gain an ability that gives you a loan of $9,000 or $10,000 with the backroom deal's monkey knowledge. And this can be useful if you need some quick cash right now, but you will need to pay it all back later. 50% of all your income will go to paying off the loan you took out, or alternatively 40% again if you have the backroom deal's monkey knowledge. If you have more than one IMF loan bank, you can take out a second loan while already in debt, but the money you get from the loan counts as an income, so a portion of it will go to paying off the previous loan. If you want to, you can also choose to deposit and collect over and over until you've paid off the loan, as every time you collect it is counted as an income and a percentage of that will go to paying off the loan. Onto the tier 5 upgrade, the Monkeyonomics, it now replaces the ability with a new one that earns the same 9 to 10,000, but you no longer have to pay it back, it's a straight up income. The cooldown for the ability is 60 seconds and you can use it a maximum of 2 times per round, but to use the ability this much you would need to stall the rounds. And now let's move on and talk about the bottom path. The first upgrade will cause bananas and crates to be picked up more easily as their collection radius, that you have to move your mouse within to pick them up, increases by 50%. Also, in case you were to forget picking them up within the 15-second time limit, instead of disappearing they will auto-collect, but they will only give you 50% of what they otherwise would have given you. Get the second upgrade and this increases to 85% of the original value. Additionally, the farm will sell for 10% more. If you didn't know, selling any tower gets you 70% back of what you invested into the tower by default, but with this upgrade the farm will sell for 80% of the invested value. The Monkey Knowledge Better Sell deals gives an additional 5% to all towers that you sell. The third upgrade is where we start talking money. Now the farm will automatically generate $20 16 times per round for a total of $320 per round without you needing to pick up any bananas. On top of this, if you have the Healthy Bananas Monkey Knowledge, you also get 1 extra life per round. At tier 4 it will generate $1,120 per round and can generate 3 lives per round with the Monkey Knowledge. On top of this, it will also increase the income from Merchantmen, Favorite Trades and the Trade Empire, which we will all go over soon. The tier 5 bottom path farm, the Monkey Wall Street, will generate the same amount as a tier 4 during the round, but once the round ends it will give an additional $4,000 for a total of $5,120 per round, and can generate 10 lives per round with the Monkey Knowledge, and also picks up any nearby collectibles in its range such as bananas, crates or full bloon traps. So that's all 3 farms, but how should you cross path them? Well, the top path farm should almost always be cross-path with the middle path for the more valuable bananas. The only time that the bottom path is chosen for the increased sellback value is in a few situations if you're a hardcore boss player, but we will go over those situations once we get to the strategy part of the video. As for the middle path, it should always be given the top path so it generates money faster that it then can earn interest on, unless you're lazy, in which case you can go with the bottom path. Choosing this path, the banks will begin to glow once they are full for the first upgrade and then auto-collect when they are full with the second upgrade. The bottom path is usually cross-pathed with the top path in the early game, as that will get your farm rolling faster, but later in the game, once you already have a good farm going, the middle cross-path is better as it earns slightly more money. Once again, we will see some examples later on. Apart from farms, many other towers can be used to make money too, and the most powerful way is with boat farming. Once you reach the third bottom path upgrade of the boat, the Merchantman, it will start to generate $200 at the end of each round and it cannot be affected by any cross path. Upgrading it to the tier 4 favorite trades makes this $500 per round, as well as increasing the sellback value for every tower in its range by 10%, similar to the bottom path upgrade of the farm, except this applies to any tower in its range. Make it into a tier 5 Trade Empire causes the income to increase to $800 per round. Also, the Trade Empire itself and every Merchantman or Favorite Trades will have their income increase by $10 for every Merchantman on screen or $20 for every Favorite Trades on screen. So the more boats you have, the more money each and every one of them will generate. So for example, if you have 1 Trade Empire, 2 Favorite Trades and 3 Merchantmen, a Merchantman would make the default $200 plus 10 times 3 for the other 2 Merchantmen and itself, plus 20 times 2 for the Favorite Trades, totaling $270. This can be stacked up to 20 times, so having a Trade Empire and 20 Favorite Trades would mean that each Favorite Trade boat would make $900 per round instead of the standard $500. Any boat built after the first 20 would only get the default $500 cash generation. On top of all this, building tier 4 bottom path central market farms also buffs the income from Merchantmen, Favorite Trades and the Trade Empire by 10% each for a maximum of 100% with 10 central markets. Note that this stacks additively and not multiplicatively, so if you have 20 trade stacks and 10 central market stacks, it will not make $1,800 per round, but instead it will make $1,400 per round. Another thing you can do to increase the income for every Merchantman, Favorite Trades and Trade Empire is to have the Trade Agreements Monkey Knowledge, which gives every boat plus $20 cash generation per round. Also, before we move on from boats altogether, the tier 5 middle path boat, the Pirate Lord, can insta-kill mob class balloons all the way up to ZOMGs with its hooking ability, and this grants 100% extra income compared to popping it normally. Although due to its cost and the relatively low income gain compared to other options, it's normally not used for farming per se, but the income can be useful in challenges. So in what order should you build the Merchantman, Favor Trades and Trade Empire for the maximum income as fast as possible? That we will get to when we reach the strategy section of the video, but for now we will continue with the next tower that can be used for generating income, the Druid. The Druid only has 2 upgrades that make money, the middle path tier 4 and tier 5 upgrades. The tier 4 Jungle's Bounty grants you 1 extra life per round and generates $320 per ability usage, and that amount is increased by another $130 per farm in its range. The ability can be activated a maximum of 3 times per round, but you won't be able to use it nearly this much as the cooldown for the ability is 60 seconds. You can try to stall the rounds by using ice, glue or any other stalling method to increase the amount of times you can use the ability. Upgrading into the tier 5 Spirit of the Forest, it still makes $320 per ability usage and plus the same $130 per farm in its range, and the cooldown is also the same. The difference is that it now also makes $1,000 at the end of each round, and each ability now grants plus 25 lives per ability or plus 2 lives if you already have over 1000 lives. For a tower that can do some decent global DPS, this is pretty good. But now let's move on to the next tower, the Sniper. Farming using this tower is very straightforward. The middle path tier 4 and tier 5 upgrades grants you a supply drop ability that gives you $1,200 for tier 4 and $3,000 for tier 5. They can both be used a maximum of 3 times per round, but the cooldown is 90 seconds long for both of them, so you likely won't be able to use it nearly as much. Triggering the tier 5 ability causes all tier 4 sniper abilities that are off cooldown to trigger as well, so you don't have to spam click the button. And that is really all there is to the sniper, so now let's move on and talk about the engineer. The tier 4 bottom path, the Bloon trap, throws out a trap that will cause every Bloon caught to give 2 times as much cash than when popped normally. Each trap can pop 500 red Bloons or red Bloon equivalent, and using the big trap's monkey knowledge, it can trap 30 more. You want to cross path it with the middle path. This way you can place the trap wherever you want in the engineer's range, and you can place it so that nothing else gets any pop, so you can maximize your cash bonus. The tier 5 XXXL trap also gives 2 times bonus cash, but now can trap mob class balloons all the way up to ZOMGs as well, but since this tower is so expensive, it's usually not used for its bonus cash until after you have maximized your farming using more efficient towers. Normally, when the tier 4 trap gets full, it takes a few seconds for the NG to place out a new one, but to maximize your bonus cash from the Bloon trap, you want to use the NG's retargeting function to retarget the trap in the same spot right away every time the NG places down a new trap. After a few seconds, the engineer will then replace the old trap with a new one instantly without any downtime, assuming that the trap doesn't get full before this happens. Now onto the Alchemist. The tier 3 bottom path, the lead to gold, instantly pop lead balloons and gives you $50 on top of the default $23 you normally get from popping a lead balloon, giving you some nice extra cash from a few early rounds such as 28, 30 and 37. This transitions nicely into the tier 4 upgrade, the rubber to gold, that throws a golden potion that turns balloons golden, and when they are popped, they grant plus 200% extra cash, or in other words, 3 times as much money. The golden potion soaks through all balloon layers, but it does not do that for mob class balloons, so it doesn't really give you any extra cash from them. That is, unless you kill the mob using something like the XXXL trap or the Pirate Lord's hooking ability. In that case, not only does it soak through all the layers, but you also get the plus 100% cash from the trap / Pirate Lord. They don't stack multiplicatively with each other, but they do stack additively, so that's plus 300% or 4 times as much money. The rubber to gold also stacks this way on normal balloons when using the Bloon trap, and we will learn how to use all these towers in effective combinations with each other later on. And also remember to not upgrade the Alchemist to its tier 5 upgrade, as it will turn mob class balloons into red balloons and you don't get any cash for all that damage, so it will make you lose out on a bunch of money. Next up, the Heli Pilot's tier 4 middle path gains an ability that drops 2 crates, one that contains 10 extra lives and one that contains $1,550. That is, unless you have the charged Chinook's monkey knowledge, and in that case you will get $1,938 and 12 extra lives, or if you already have over 1,000 lives, then it will only give you 1 extra life. The ability can only be used 2 times per round and has a cooldown of 90 seconds, just like the tier 5 that now drops 25 lives and $4,500, or 31 lives and $5,625 with the monkey knowledge, and this time the bonus lives drops down to 2 if current lives are above 1,000. On top of its farming capabilities, the tier 5 Heli can not only move towers around like the tier 4 can, but also pick them up and carry them around while they are still able to attack, and this can be used for two cool tricks that are related to farming. The first trick is called the Cellicopter, picking up a favorite trade's boat and flying it around for the increased sellback value. This can be very useful in the later boss tiers when you have a lot of farms that need to be sold all over the map before the fighting starts. The second trick is if you pick up the banana farmer that picks up bananas for you, and then set the heli pilot to patrol point so it flies around and picks up everything for you. The banana farmer is a power that we will mention again once we get to the power section of the video. Now onto a tower that is usually not used for generating cash outside of challenges, and that is the Sun Temple. Sacrificing support towers to the temple will cause it to give up to a 20% discount on all towers and upgrades bought in its range, and up to $5,000 at the end of each round, and 50% extra cash from pops made in its range. The tier 5 True Sun God can double all this to 40% discount, 10k at the end of each round, and 100% extra cash from pops made in its range. Worth mentioning is that it's not actually 50% and 100% extra income, as there seems to be a bug that has been in the game for a long time. It's actually about 37.4% extra or 74.9% extra for the True Sun God, although you can get the full 50% and 100% bonus from some Moab insta-kill methods made inside of its range. But for boss farming it doesn't matter that much, because the biggest use of the Sun Temple in regards to farming is mostly to make use of its discount, as we will see when we get to the strategy section of the video. A super big part in farming that we haven't covered yet is the village. The bottom path's first two upgrades offer discounts to towers placed in its range. The first upgrade gives a 10% discount to all upgrades made in its range up to tier 3 upgrades, and also gives a 10% refund on towers placed in its range. So if you have the first upgrade and you place a tower that costs $500 in its range, you immediately get $50 back, but you still need the $500 initially to buy the tower. This also works on heroes when you place them down, but the discount does not work when upgrading the hero. The discount can also be increased from 10% to 12% using the Insider Trade's Monkey Knowledge. Upgrade the village to the tier 2 upgrade and it now gives an additional 5% discount on all upgrades up to tier 3, and this extra 5% stacks additively with up to 2 more villages, so you can place down 3 XX2 villages and get a maximum of 25% discount. The tier 3 Monkey Town now gives 50% more cash from all pops made by tower placed in its range. Note that this is different from the temple, which gives extra cash from balloons that are popped in its range. This effect can also be increased from 50% to 60% with the Inland Revenue Stream's Monkey Knowledge. Moving on to the tier 4 upgrade, the Monkey City now increases direct money generation from towers in its range by 20%. This applies to farms, boats, the balloon trap, the temple's end of round cash, the pirate lord's hooking ability, and most direct cash generating abilities, but not the bank's tier 4 or tier 5 abilities. The bonus income also applies to heroes, or at least in some cases, but we will get to the hero section shortly. The tier 5 Monkeyopolis can be sacrificed farms up to tier 4 in its radius, and will then generate 10 crates per round with the equivalent value that all of your sacrificed farms would have generated, thus saving you space. Worth noting is that the upgrade cost depends on how many farms you have in its range. The cost is $5,000 per farm in its range, no matter how many upgrades you have given those farms. On top of saving space, it also adds its own money generation of $1,250 per round into these crates, no matter how many farms you sacrificed. Thus, it can sometimes be a good idea to make a Monkeyopolis with just one base farm as a sacrifice, often called a Miniopolis. But of course, sometimes the opposite is true and you want to fit as many farms as you can, and then an Overclock engineer can come in handy. The tier 4 middle path NG, the Overclock, has an ability that increases the attack speed for a tower by 66.7% for a duration dependent on the tier of the tower, and has a cooldown of 45 seconds. If this is instead given to a village, it will increase its range by 25%, allowing you to sacrifice more farms. If applied to a farm, it will increase its production by 66.7%, but when used on a tier 4 or tier 5 top path farm, this will be rounded up to 80% due to the small number of crates it produces, which is why overclocks are so powerful for farming. Note that overclocking a Monkeyopolis does not increase its production, it can only give range to villages. The tier 5 middle path NG, the Ultraboost, now has a cooldown that is 10 seconds shorter than the Overclock, and on top of the temporary effect, it also gives a permanent 4.14% buff every time you use it on a tower up to 10 stacks, for a total of 66.7% extra money generation permanently. Many newer players are confused as to whether Overclocks and Ultraboost stacks with each other or not. The Overclock has only a temporary effect and it is identical to the temporary effect of the Ultraboost, and they do not stack together even though both icons are visible. Having both of the temporary effects on a tower still only gives a 66.7% bonus, but they both stack with the Ultraboost permanent effect. So if you have any number of permanent stacks, that effect will be there all the time, and you can also apply the temporary effect of either the Ultraboost or the Overclock. One more thing about overclocks before we move on. As mentioned, the duration of the buff depends on the tier of the tower that you use the overclock on, but this can be tricked. If you happen to have an overclock ready, then you can place a base farm and use the overclock on it and then upgrade the farm. This way the buff will last longer, but of course this is only practical to do in some situations. Next up we have heroes. The heroes that can make you money are Ben, Geraldo and Oben. Oben is never chosen for his money generation though, as the only way he can increase your cash is by using the Wall of Trees ability that sucks in balloons and then explodes, giving you plus 100% extra cash similar to a balloon trap. And he doesn't unlock this ability until level 10, so any of the other two money generating heroes will always be better. Ben won't do you much help in terms of popping balloons, but he will make you a lot of money. Starting at level 1, he will automatically give you $100 per round, and this starts to increase right away and continues to do so until level 17, when the round income has reached $800 from this mechanic alone. He also increases your income through other means as well. At level 4 he unlocks skimming, which automatically puts $1 in your pocket for every balloon that spawns. At level 5 you unlock bank hack that causes your banks to earn plus 5% income, and this increases to 12% at level 9. You also have the Bloon Trojan at level 7 that sends out a virus, and once a balloon is affected by it, it will no longer spawn any children when popped, and it produces 1 cash for every layer. At level 16 it is sent out more often and generates more cash, and at level 18 it can affect BFBs and EDTs. But this attack will lose you money compared to popping the balloons normally, so you will often see people place Ben behind an obstacle so he can't send out his attack. If there is no way to block his attacks, it is often a good idea to sell him during the mid-game, as the money he generates will not keep up with the income he prevents. Next, Ben's level 10 ability, Siphon Funding, downgrades newly spawned balloons up to ZOMGs by 1 rank, and the cash per pop from affected balloons is twice as much for 10 seconds. At level 18 it can now affect DDTs, and at the level of 20 the duration is increased to 20 seconds and gives 3 times the amount of cash. So that's a lot of benefits for your farming, and on top of all that he also generates lives, which can be very useful for bosses like Lish that drains your lives. The last hero is Geraldo, and 3 of his store items that can make you money. First of all, we have the Quincy action figure, often nicknamed the NFT. As soon as he reaches level 2, or as soon as you place him down if you have the monkey knowledge that makes heroes begin on level 3, this item is available and the price begins at $750. The price of this item will then increase by 10% at the end of each round during rounds 1 to 30, 5% per round during 31 to 81, and then finally 2% per round from 81 and onwards to a maximum of $10 million. It can be sold at any point for 95% of its value or 100% with the better sell deal's monkey knowledge. So to make as much money as possible from the NFT, you want to place down Geraldo as soon as possible so that his NFT will start gaining value right away, but doing so will also make it harder to save up to. Assuming you have the empowered hero's monkey knowledge, you can choose to either place down Geraldo right away and afford the NFT during round 10, and this will make the most amount of money. Or you can place him down after round 4 and buy the NFT right away, but now you will have missed out on the first 4 10% increases. So how big is the difference? Well, if you place him down on round 1, the NFT will be worth about 143k by round 80. If we take the other route and place him down on round 4, the NFT would be worth about 107k by round 80, so that's over 35k less. Those first 4 10% increases early on really makes a huge difference down the line. A popular use for this farming method is for ranked bosses when the leaderboard is based on least tiers, as this doesn't require any upgrades except the 1 tier to buy the hero. Geraldo's next useful item for farming is the fertilizer unlocked at level 9. This will only cost you $300 and will increase the cash generation of your farm by 25% for 4 rounds. This is a crazy good return on investment if you have a high tier farm to apply it to. Note that this only works on farms and no other cash generating tower, and it actually only works on farms that produces a collectible, so that means it won't work if you get more than 2 upgrades on any other path than the top path. Lastly, we have the Rejuve potion unlocked at level 11. At a cost of $2,000, this potion will heal 50 lives and reset all ability cooldowns. If you are in a situation where you are using a lot of abilities to farm, such as Monkeynomics, Snipers, Druids, Heli, whatever, this will increase the generation of your farming by a ton. Just make sure to use all of your abilities, and as they are on maximum cooldown, use your rejuve potion and then use all of your abilities again. And also, if you're farming using mainly abilities, having a tier 5 top path energizer submarine will decrease the cooldowns for all abilities by 20%. Combining Geraldo and the Energizer will increase the cash generation from your ability farm big time. But now let's move on to the next topic, which is Monkey Knowledge. Throughout this video I have mentioned several monkey knowledges that can be useful for different cash generating towers. In this section we will speed through all the ones that are useful, including some that I have not yet mentioned. To try and keep the video as compact as possible, I won't go through every single one in detail as that would take too long, but I will show all of them on screen along with a descriptive text of what they do. I will display them category by category. Most of the important ones we have already mentioned, but there are a few very important ones that we haven't. For example, in the primary category there was one that lets you start with a free dart monkey and one that increases the starting cash by $200. Even though a monkey knowledge is not directly tied to farming, it can still have a big positive impact. For example, a lot of the basic monkey knowledges will increase the popping power of base towers, and that can be important for you to get your farm going as soon as possible while spending the minimum on defense. I won't include all of those monkey knowledges here, since that would mean basically every monkey knowledge in the game, so I will just include the most important ones. The final category is powers. Powers are not allowed in ranked bossing, but if you're playing more casually, you might want to use powers like the Banana Farmer, which helps you pick up bananas. Other useful powers are Thrive, that increases the cash production for 2 rounds by 25% or 30% with the monkey knowledge, the cash drop power that gives you an instant $2,500, and lastly the tech bot that automatically triggers abilities for you. And now we've gone through pretty much everything there is to know about farming in BTD6, and it's time to learn about 4 different farming strategies ranging from very simple and laid back to the most intensive and advanced strats used by the pros. If you're new to BTD6, bossing can be very intimidating, and jumping straight into advanced farming can feel like way too much at once, so here is a very simple and laid back strategy: marketplace spam. Despite its simplicity, it works just fine versus any boss on the normal difficulty. As long as you spend your money wisely, you don't need that much for a normal boss, and if you would rather have a more relaxed playstyle to just beat the boss rather than trying to get a good ranked time, this is a good option for the first boss tier. Start by placing your free dart monkey. If you don't have that monkey knowledge, that's okay, just place the dart monkey anyway and then save up to Benjamin or whatever hero you plan on using, and then after that get your first farm and upgrade it to 200. If you happen to be playing on a map with water and a decent amount of space around that water, then place the farms such that they would fit inside the range of a favorite trade's boat for the extra sellback value. Then we place an engineer, and then after that we will get 2 more 200 farms, and then we'll upgrade the NG to 002. After that we'll get a 4th 200 farm before we start saving up to make them all into marketplaces. After getting the first marketplace, we upgrade the NG into double gun and then give the dart monkey camo detection for round 24 and then upgrade another farm. Before round 28, where we encounter the first lead balloons, we upgrade the NG into balloon trap and get the range upgrade so we can target the trap to the beginning of the track. In this laid back strategy we won't be refreshing the trap or anything like that. Keep in mind that the trap is placed so that the balloons will have to cross over it twice. This will make sure that no leads will ever get past us, but if you're on a map that never has the track cross itself, then you will want to get something else that can pop leads too. When continuing to build marketplaces, you want to go for the 3 bottom path upgrades first and then the 2 top path upgrades. Also for round 33 we upgrade the dart monkey to tier 3 so we can take down the camo balloons a bit easier. As we're getting close to round 40, the last thing we will want to get is a 004 favored trades next to the farms if you happen to have water on the map. Once you reach round 40, you will sell your farms, your defense, and lastly your favorite trades to buy something to take down the boss. After the first boss tier is taken care of, you want to get yourself a 1 farm Monkeyopolis and then start spamming marketplaces again around the Monkeyopolis and water in preparation for tier 2. And these marketplaces will be upgraded into central markets. As you're about to fight tier 2 or any future tier, you probably won't have to sell all your farms like for the first tier. Selling a few should be fine. In preparation for tier 3, 4, and 5, you want to get a Banana Central and as many 420 farms as possible. And that is really all you need for a normal, non-ranked boss. No need for refreshing the trap or a pre-tier 1 Opolis or overclocks or anything like that if you're just starting out. But what if you're feeling ready to step it up a notch and do some really sweaty farming to go for a top 50 or better? Well, then the exact strategy will depend on a lot of factors like the boss, the map, available heroes and towers, but as long as you know the basic ideas of the different sweaty strats, you will be able to make the changes necessary to apply them to any scenario. One of the main factors is the amount of water on a map, so let's cover two different scenarios, a lot of water and a little bit of water, as most boss maps will fall into one of these two categories. Let's start with a little bit of water. We begin by placing our free dart monkey and then Benjamin in a spot so he won't be able to attack once he unlocks the Trojan, and then we place our first farm and then a submarine. The amount of towers and type of towers you will need to defend whilst not getting a penalty will of course vary. Benjamin has an ability that we did not mention in the hero part called Biohack that causes the 4 closest monkeys to pop an extra layer for 6 seconds and then not attack at all for 2 seconds. The ability is often used in some of the early rounds to avoid a penalty and be able to spend a few extra dollars on farming instead of more defense. After round 10, Ben will almost be at level 4, at which point he will gain skimming. To buy the last bit of XP needed only cost $11, so buy this before starting round 11. After that we will get a 200 farm and then a 220. After that we upgrade the 200 farm into a 202 for the extra sellback value, and then we will save up cash until we have $1,385, at which point we can sell that farm and upgrade the other one into a bank. Then buy a base boomerang, then a 200 farm, and then upgrade the boomerang into red hot rangs and upgrade the dart monkey to give it some camo detection for round 24. Then get another 200 farm and then upgrade the boomerang into 102. Then as the bank gets full, sell it and place 3 discount villages, then upgrade the 2 farms into 202 such that they get the extra sellback value and then sell them. Then place a 4th village in range of all 3 discount villages and upgrade it into a monkey city with bigger radius. Then place a farm in range of the Monkey City and 2 more discount villages, and then sell all of your discount villages to upgrade the Monkey City into an Opolis. Then we place an engineer that we will upgrade into a 014 Bloon trap, and we sell our other towers to afford it quicker, and now we will place the trap in a good spot and retarget the trap in the same spot each time he places one down, just like we learned previously. Then we work on placing down more 203 marketplaces around the water and inside the range of the Opolis, and we will also get a 013 Dart Monkey for round 33 to take care of the camo balloons. Then we want to get a 104 rubber to gold alch set to strong during round 37, as this round will give a lot of extra cash, and we also want to get a 012 glue gunner set to strong as well. This guy will slow down the balloons a lot and allow the alch to throw his golden potion onto a lot more balloons. And then the last thing before round 40 is again to get the favorite trades boat and place it so that its range encompasses as many farms and towers as possible. Now of course, if you're playing ranked, you may need to start placing down towers to take care of the boss on round 38 or 39 if you're planning on using abilities to insta-kill it rather than say a mad if that happens to be the best option that isn't banned for that particular week. But this video is specifically about the farming, so boss strats will not be covered here. If you can insta-kill the boss without selling all of your towers, then great. Keep the Opolis if you can, and if you can keep the favorite trades as well, then that's even better. After the tier 1 fight, you want to have an Opolis and get a 420 BRF and an Overclock for it. And then in terms of defense, you want to get the Bloon trap back again, but this time you want to make it into a 024 so it can trap more fortified balloons. And again, we get the 104 alch set to strong, and this time we will even get a second one soon. And we also want 2 012 glue gunners set to strong as well. Then you want to get some marketplaces that will be turned into central markets. You also want to get your favorite trades back if you didn't manage to keep it from tier 1, because all of these central markets will be sold along with the overclock as soon as their combined value is enough to upgrade the BRF into the Banana Central. Then you want to get the overclock back as soon as possible to use it on the Banana Central, and place the overclock such that its cleansing foam can be used to remove camo from balloons before they hit the balloon trap. From here, you want to get more BRFs and overclocks, and you want to alternate between them. First you get another BRF, then an overclock for it, then another BRF, then an overclock for it, and so on. And for defense, as you get closer to tier 2, you will need more balloon traps, so get a second one in the 40s and a third one in the 50s. To take care of Moabs that will spawn, place 2 Moab Maulers set to strong before the balloon traps. These will pop the Moabs open without actually popping a lot of balloons, leaving them for your balloon traps. As you get near the next boss fight, you might want to get a tier 5 heli to pick up the favorite trade so you can have a so-called helicopter to fly it around and get more sellback value on everything that you choose to sell. Its ability generates a good amount of cash too, so you can keep this helicopter for the rest of the game if you like. Also, as you get close to a boss fight, 4 rounds or less, you don't want to keep getting more 420 BRFs. Instead, it's more efficient to get 024 central markets due to them having more sellback value since you will need to sell them very soon. The rarely ever seen 402 BRF is only used in one very specific scenario, and that is if you have 4 rounds or less until you need to sell, and you have a Banana Central, and you have space to place it within a Monkey City. In that scenario, the 402 BRF is slightly more efficient than the 024 Central Market. So once you reach tier 2, you sell those farms and a few more using your helicopter, but you will often be able to keep most of them. Then the farming for tier 3 will include getting a few 104 Monkey Cities that you buy using discount villages. You then want to place 420 BRFs around them, and of course, like always, you want to get overclocks for each and every one. You also want to get an Ultraboost to use on your Banana Central, and you also want to get the tier 5 bottom path farm, but do not use the Ultraboost on this one even when you have reached 10 stacks on the Banana Central. This is because the buff does not apply to the $4,000 end of round cash, only the $1,120 that it makes during the round, so it's essentially the same as Ultra boosting a tier 4 central market. After getting the Ultra Boost, you also want to get an energizer to shorten the cooldown of the Ultra Boost and your Heli if you chose to keep it. Once the map is completely filled, you sell the Miniopolis and get a new Monkeyopolis with a Monkey City next to it with as many farms as you can, and then place down new BRFs to fill the map once more. And there you go, now you have pretty much maxed out the farming before reaching tier 3. So sell however many BRFs you need for the boss fights and then buy them back when the fight is over and repeat. So now what about if there is a lot more water available? As you might expect, there will be a lot of similarities, but let's quickly run through it so you know the differences. Up until tier 1, the farming will look the same, but after that you want to go with a Miniopolis and then get working on 20 merchantmen with as many of them as possible in the range of the Opolis. The defense will again consist of mostly balloon traps with 1 or 2 rubber to gold alks and some glue gunners to increase the pop income, and any camo balloons will be dealt with by the boats on this map, but on others you may want to get something more. After you have 20 merchantmen, you want to upgrade one of them that's inside the range of the Opolis to a trade empire, and then after that comes the time to get 10 central markets and then upgrade the rest of the boats to tier 4. Then you want to get a Banana Central and an Ultra Boost and then fill the remaining space on land with BRFs and overclocks, and also upgrade one of your central markets to the tier 5 Monkey Wall Street. After that, you want to fill the rest of the water with merchantmen, and once the water is filled, you want to upgrade all of them to favored trades. As you have seen, it's also good to make use of discount villages / monkey cities where possible. Lastly, you want to sell your Miniopolis and create a new Opolis with as many farms as you can, and then rebuy the exact farms you had to again have 9 central markets, 1 Monkey Wall Street, 1 Banana Central, and the rest BRFs. And at this point, you have again maxed out the farming. So now we have covered a very basic beginner strategy as well as the 2 main map scenarios for ranked strategies, but there is one more strat that you need to know about that is notorious for being very hard, time consuming and annoying to perform, and that is IMF farming. This strategy is commonly used by the best co-op players out there because the debt from the IMF loan abilities is not shared among players, but for solo this strategy is rarely ever used anymore due to all the recent nerfs to it. It used to be great for tier 1 and tier 2 farming for solo, but nowadays it's only ever used for tier 1, and even then it's very rare that this strategy is better than the ones we just looked at. This strategy is so complex that only a few people know how to use it properly, and there are top players out there who admit that even they are not experts at pulling off this strategy. It would probably take a whole other 30-minute long video to do a proper in-depth tutorial of this strategy alone. There are tutorials out there, but they are from before the nerfs and they don't cover the insane amount of details that you need to learn to make this strategy really worth using. But I at least want you to know about its existence and understand the basic concept. You get an IMF to take out a loan, to buy more IMFs to take out more loans, etc. And then you stall rounds to wait for the ability cooldown, but not so much that you get a time penalty. And then you can use that borrowed money and all the money you earn from pops to deposit back into the bank and earn interest on it, and then you finish off before the boss fight by taking out some more loans and then selling the IMFs. It might sound easy, but trust me, there are a ton of details you need to learn to make it work well. What you're watching right now is my first ever attempt at trying this strategy, and it left me with only 58k by round 40, which is not great considering we can do better using the other method and not be left in debt for the next tier. So this is a hard strategy to master, but once you do, you can use it on those rare events where, for example, first strikes are banned against Vortex, and you can manage to afford a Ray of Doom by tier 1, which is just insane. Now again, remember that there are a lot more things than just the map that affect what is the perfect, most optimal farming strategy. What boss you're fighting, hero and tower bans, boss and balloon modifiers, and last but not least, what update you are playing on. This video was released in November of 2023 on update 39.2, but Bloons is a game that evolves. With every major update that occurs, something may change, big or small, and major updates occur about every 2 months, which leads to a lot of fun content, but it also leads to many guides quickly becoming outdated. But thankfully, most of what we have learned today won't change super much, and this guide will be relevant for a long time to come. But to make this guide even better and stay up to date longer, I will update the description for every major update that is released and list any changes so you know if something has changed. There are more small tricks that exist that were not mentioned in this video, so I encourage each and every one of you to leave your tips in the comments and also let everyone know if there was something I forgot, and we will all help to upvote those comments. This video took a long time to make, so I would really appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up and left a comment on the video, as that really helps me out quite a lot. Also, check out these heroes right here. Mr. Pietrick and Felicia's channels will be linked below, as without their help I would not have been able to make this video. They spent a lot of time talking me through some of the more complex strats, so huge thanks to both of them. And with that, I hope this video helped you out, or at least kept you entertained for a while. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next one.